We're getting good at this now.
We're getting great. Third time lucky.
I don't even think I don't even have to read. Today's guest started her business at 26 years old with no experience as a buyer's agent. While building her company completely from scratch, she met the love of her life, traveled through Europe, took leave during a peak spring market, and still delivered a record-breaking month with her team. Before 30, she owns multiple investment properties, built and designed her own brand and social presence, leads a high-performing all-female team. What I respect the most is that she didn't follow the traditional playbook. She built her own. And now, if it wasn't enough, she's working on a second business aimed at creating more options and structural improvement within the Australian buyer's agent market. Bianca Field, welcome.
Thank you.
How's that?
It's beautiful.
Okay, good. All right. So you're a buyer's agent and you're from Board Agency. And then just to give some context, so you spent 12 and a half years in the real estate industry.
Yes.
10 in the sales space.
Actually 2.5 in the sales space.
No, selling space.
Sorry, in the selling space.
How many?
2.5 years.
Isn't it 10 in selling and 2.5 in buying?
No, I did 8 years in property management. Oh, I did 8 years in property management and 2.5 years as a selling agent.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's why I'm looking at you so confused.
I know. I think you thought I messed up. Yeah. I spent bulk of my career in property management, not selling.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
There you go.
I can't believe. Okay. Also, just for the audience, this is our second. It feels like our third time recording.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did record last week,
yes,
but it didn't work out. But at the same time, in the process of me not having the courage to tell you that, you reached out to me, and I was so happy that you did. And you said, "I think we should do that again.
Yeah.
I think there can be more takeaways."
Yes.
Okay. I was so relieved when you said that, because I was like, yeah, I agree. And
I was even more relieved when you responded.
Is that right? Okay. All right. That's really good that we know. I didn't know that little bit of history about you, so I'm really glad that we know that.
Yep.
So, all right. I've got a bunch of questions.
Sure.
Also, there's some real takeaways that we want to be focused on that people can take away from this. There's also some questions from Jasmine, who is your good friend and my colleague, right? I think most of our audience know Jasmine because she's recorded with us. But also, just as an additional extra, we're recording and releasing this on International Women's Day. So I just want you to know that when I decided to come up with a podcast, you were one of the names that I had down. And I did that because I really sort of admire what you've done in the last couple of years. Every interaction I've had with you has been just so impressive. And then on top of that, I've just watched this transformation, and we'll talk about that transformation today. All right. But I'm going to ask you the same question that I've already asked you now on a couple of occasions. So I just want to make the comparison to being a selling agent and a buying agent. So what's harder? Is it convincing a vendor to adjust or reduce their price by $200,000, or convincing a buyer to stretch their budget another $200,000?
It's easier to spend $200,000 more than to remove $200,000 from your bottom line, typically.
Why is that?
Because when you're selling, typically you're moving on to something else, and that has to align. And when you're buying, I think that most people don't spend their full budget up front. But when you show them what their full budget can buy them, they want to buy it. So I just think circumstantially it's different. And I take my hat off to you, because it's certainly a difficult task to, modify a vendor's expectations based on market feedback to a lower point.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because it is such an emotional transaction. Like, the emotions work both ways.
Yes.
So when you're emotional but emotional happy, I think it's easy to do something. But when you're emotional sad, it can be a real blockage.
Completely.
So yeah, okay. Can we start with the transition? The transition from selling agent to buyer's agent.
Yes.
So what prompted that?
So as you now know, I spent a lot of time in the residential space. So I was, a receptionist, then I was a leasing agent, then I was a BDM. I had a moment around the sun doing property management, which I take my hat off to them too. And then I essentially spent a long time being a BDM, which is a form of selling in the real estate space, before I jumped into selling real estate. I feel like I had moved through the ranks pretty quickly as a selling agent. And I had I think it was about 18 months before I was billing $1 million GCI, which is pretty amazing when you think about that short period of time now that you know of me in a selling space. I looked at what it would take in order to increase my volume or increase, the outcome of success for myself. And I didn't like the process of how that looked. So I had a moment where I felt as though that role wasn't making me happy anymore. The process of having to meet more people in order to sell more real estate, the concept of that just really burnt me out.
Okay. And then you felt bad. So then how did you arrive at I'll be a buyer's agent?
Interestingly enough, the quality of buyer's agents coming through in the market, I felt lacked. And I felt as though with my level of experience, I'd built up a really good understanding of why people consume. And the interesting thing is that whether you're leasing a property or whether you're facilitating, somebody in buying a property, there's a process of understanding their needs. And so I was always intrigued by how people consumed. So for me, I felt as though there was an enormous gap in the market for people who had spent a long time on the residential selling side or in agencies that I felt would be a very good value to the general public seeking those services.
Okay. And did ultimately your selling background help you with, the buyer's agent world? So that came into play. Did you feel the benefits of it?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Where was it most obvious?
Relationships.
Yeah.
Number one. It's much easier for me to pick up the phone and call you and ask you about a particular property, and you don't have to ascertain whether I'm serious. I don't have to consider whether whether the property is actually going to, be a sale that you're even going to be able to sell in the first place. Like there's a whole heap of little intricacies that come with selling, and having relationships with selling agents definitely assists. Now, the other thing that I felt gave me cut through is that I was used to working in a fast-paced, high-volume environment. I think high volume gets a bit of a beating. For me personally, I found it very advantageous because it meant that I had to do more work in a shorter period of time. So I had to learn how to deliver my quality in less time. And I think for people that have worked in that space, and I'm sure you would understand this, when you're selling a property under auction, there's a 4-week campaign and you are essentially putting the property on market and the deadline is the 4th week on that auction day if it's not sold prior. So I wanted to understand how I could deliver the same timing turnout for people wanting to consume in the marketplace that I specialized in. On top of that, I found that I would meet prospective buyers who were interested in certain properties and weren't aware that there were other options that were quite similar that existed in surrounding markets. So because of the amount of time that I'd spent in those markets in the inner west, inner city and inner east, I was able to quickly correlate, that building is quite good and that building has a similar layout and that offers a similar lifestyle. And it made it easier for me to cross-sell across a multitude of markets.
I hear you. Cross-selling is a thing, right?
Totally.
I find that agents that don't know how to cross-sell dismiss it. But the ones that do know how to cross-sell really benefit from it. Is that fair to say?
Oh, it's totally the truth. Yes.
Yeah. Do you still have, I've found that someone will say to me, I want a 2-bedroom apartment in this part of town with double parking, and then they buy something that's 3 bedrooms in a different part of town with no parking. Does that still happen to you?
Yes.
Why do you think that happens?
Because some properties have a certain feel and they offer a certain something that you can't quite articulate.
Yeah, I hear. Okay. Can we just talk about the transition and more about, say, less about real estate, but more about you?
Yeah.
Was that scary?
It's funny. The scary part was the process when I resigned to when I left. That was the part where I hadn't had an opportunity yet to really dig myself into this new business that I'd decided I was going to start. And there was a lot of doubt for those weeks. Yes, absolutely. That was the scariest time.
What fears did you have?
That I was going to fail and I was going to make an idiot of myself. They were probably the 2 main things.
And how did it play out then? How did the transition play out?
Well, my former boss, who I'm actually very good friends with, said to me, you've got to be bloody mad to start a business in something that you've never done before. You should definitely go and work for somebody first. And interestingly enough, I felt like I'd been brought up in an environment where it was good to prove others wrong. So it was a really exciting challenge for me. But I think I was disappointed by a lot of the people who didn't think I could do it at the time.
That was driving you.
Yeah, definitely.
Why does that drive you?
It's just a thing. It's a thing that I think to be fair, it's been instilled in me for a long time. I quite closely correlate this to when I was in high school. And a lot of people don't know this. I didn't finish year 12 and I went to a private girls' school and it was pretty shameful not to finish. It was a very conservative private girls' school, PLC, in Croydon. And I think I must have been probably the only person that I was aware of that ever went to that school and didn't finish. And a lot of people thought that I was going to go down a deep, dark path. And so even in moments like that from having people think that that was going to happen, me wanting to prove how brilliant I truly was and how brilliant I truly could be. And I think learning that then helped me get excited by that concept again later because I was confident in what I could do.
What doubts did you have in that first 6 months?
That I wouldn't make as much money as when I was a selling agent. And I think I'm fully aware of the fact that you have to take a backward step to take a forward step. Am I willing to do that? Not really. So if I can avoid doing that, I want to, not do that. But, I suppose for the first time in my life, I didn't have an income coming through the door that wasn't paid for by somebody else. So for me, it was that I wanted to sustain exactly what I was earning in a new business with a new role that I'd never done before. So I was scared about that. I was scared of not protecting myself financially.
And then how did you grow your skill set? Because I know like most, say, sales agents think that they could just jump into the buyer's agent space. I question that because I feel like it is very different. It's not very different. It's the same industry, but I do think it is different. And I think you have to learn. How did you develop your skill set?
Watching people. I know that sounds...
What do you mean by that though?
Weird, yeah. Watching people spend their money closely and asking questions for years. I am somebody who I want to know the why behind everything. And so I feel like it was really an extension of what I'd already done. But I am someone who, if I'm going to do something, I want to be the best at that. And that means I'm going to research it inside out, back to front, and I'm going to become obsessed. So I literally, before I chose to do this, I spent months and months and months and months looking at how buyers agents worked, looking at how people consume those services, looking at how buyers spent their money at auctions, looking at why people made certain decisions about certain properties. I asked a hell of a lot of questions and I watched a lot of people. I offered a gift when I started my business. And this, I look back on it and I think, oh God, that's pretty risky. But I was confident in what my skill set was. I offered free bidding and free negotiation. And that gave me an opportunity to refine the skill set that I had, build clientele, earn trust, and put runs on the board before being paid.
Love that.
Yeah. So
love that.
It's a combination of both. But I think realistically, if you want to be good at anything, you should be obsessed.
Yeah, your drive and like that's coming through right now.
Yeah.
That must be what gave you the conviction well, there was probably no doubt ever that this was going to work for you, right?
Yeah.
Or was there? Hang on. I shouldn't assume that.
There was actually no doubt. Can I tell you honestly, without naming any names?
Yeah.
Someone that I admire wholeheartedly, who, when I was a selling agent, was at the top of their game as a buyer's agent. They had offered me a role, and that was to take over their business when I was a selling agent. And actually, it was their confidence in me that gave me confidence in myself.
Wow. Okay. So was that like a mentor or was that just someone that, I don't know, how would you describe that person?
Someone that I regularly came into contact with at open homes, who I often had extended conversations with, where we developed I suppose, questions about each other's position and roles. And that person threw an idea out, but they weren't necessarily a mentor, but I did truly admire them. So I suppose in a non-direct way, I really valued who they were and what they did.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a mentor now?
Look, I think I take value from lots of different people. I don't have one particular mentor. And I sometimes think that I have a bit of a complicated wiring in that I don't think I could take everything from one person. I'd have to look at a network of individual people, and what I was seeking to understand, I would have to look at somebody else's life and how they were living it and take advice from that person who was doing what I wanted to do. So I don't have a specific direct mentor, but if there's anyone that probably I go to for advice about business, personal life, that sort of a thing, my mum. Which is, I know, like everyone can say, yeah, but my mum's my mentor too. My mum is really clever. So she specialized in small businesses and she helped a lot of businesses grow, like pretty phenomenal businesses. And so I think any business advice or any questions about my professional career, I've always handballed off her. But the best thing about my mum and the family that I've grown up in is that nobody gives you the answer. They give you perspective, which helps you come up with the answer. So I think in a lot of ways, I've relied heavily on myself and taken pearls of wisdom from a multitude of people that I respect.
Can you give me some examples of how your mum has been a positive impact on you?
Yes. So growing up in my household, my mum ran a business and she put my brother and I through private school and she paid for my family to live and go on a holiday every year and she paid for the mortgage. There were moments in time where my dad wasn't working and that went on for a very prolonged period of time. And my mum held the whole household together. She, in moments of life where, I had moments where at school I was questioning whether I really belonged there. And, at school, all I wanted to do was real estate. My mum said, if that's what you truly believe, then it's probably correct. My mum always embraced my thinking, and I knew that my thinking wasn't always aligned to what necessarily should be or is meant to be. My mum chose to walk away from a marriage that wasn't healthy and chose to remove, us from a situation that wasn't necessarily safe. So in a lot of ways, I look up to my mum because she's always been prepared to walk away from things that don't serve her. And she's always embraced not being like everybody else. And I think for me personally, I owe a lot of my thinking and the way I live my life to my mum. My mum's sick at the moment, but she still runs a business and she still talks to me every day and she still has an amazing attitude about life and she still has things to look forward to and she still appreciates and loves her partner just the way he is. And, myself and my brother, there's no favorites. My mum is just an amazing human being and I've never met anyone like her in my life. And I think that's probably why I put a lot of my personal decision-making, down to her because she's always been able to handball it back to me with perspective that's important to making that decision.
What's her name?
Wendy.
Wendy. All right. Shout out to Wendy.
Yeah.
International Women's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's so nice to hear you talk about your mum like that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I just want to go back to that transition period again.
Yes.
So if there's someone who right now is not feeling themselves and feels like they need a change, what advice would you give them?
Change is as good as a holiday. But before you make the change, take a holiday.
Okay.
Seriously. I had this piece of advice from one of the people that I worked for, Jeremy Martin. And I remember I was doing something a bit drastic and I was thinking about making some crazy decision. And he said, whoa, before you do anything, go and take a holiday. Went and took a holiday and had a totally different outcome. I just needed my brain to settle and give yourself a chance to make the decision that's right when you're in a peaceful place. That's first. If you come back and you still are unhappy with where you're at or what you're doing, it's the wrong place. You shouldn't feel that way. I learnt that with selling, I constantly, every 6 months, I would go through this period where I didn't want to do it anymore. And I haven't had that once in my career currently, my buyer's agent career. Not once have I woken up or had a moment where I thought, I just don't want to do this anymore. It hasn't happened. So if you are feeling that way, a change definitely needs to happen. I think also what I've noticed about the roles that I've really enjoyed doing is they've correlated to my values and what I enjoy. And I think a lot of people can be drawn to certain careers because they think they are a certain way. But I think it's always really good to go and actually discuss with someone how they actually operate in that space. And I think anything you choose to do, you should really do your best. I don't think anyone should do a job that they're doing half-assed. I just think it's a disgrace, honestly.
So when you say you obviously feel good in your current role, outside of the purpose,
yes,
can you tell us a little bit about your life? Because you've changed, like you're fitter, you're healthier,
yes.
like there's a different aura about you at the moment.
Yeah.
So like, can you tell us about that?
Yeah. For me personally, working for anyone else always made my mental health suffer. And I learned that I learned that with hindsight. So I look back and I go, oh, I think I really was somebody that needed to always be able to make their own decisions. When I was given the freedom by myself to make my own decisions, a lot of my life fell into place. And I think there's a lot of anxious energy and bad habits that come with unhappiness. I think that that's absolutely correct. The life that I live now is not as rigid as it was. When I was a selling agent, I felt like I never had a minute in the day for myself. And I've changed the way I work so that I work in a way that I enjoy working, so that I can give my all 100% of the time that I am choosing to work, which seems to be frowned upon in this business. And it's beyond me as to why. You know, you never, I don't know, I don't think you're going to get to 90 and go, I wish I would have worked more. You know, it's not what you're going to say to you. It just isn't. And anyone who says that, maybe Alex Phillips, but like other than that, nobody else is going to look back and go, I wish I would have worked more. For me, I had worked really, really, really hard and given all my time to everybody else, and I had suffered. So the way that I operate my life now is I try and balance it as best as I possibly can with how I want to be in the future. So everything takes work, and I'm sure you know this. Everything takes work. How you look, how you feel, your relationship with your family, your relationship with your partner, your relationship with your children, your relationship with your friends, your colleagues. Everything takes work. And for me, I divide up the things that are most important to me, and I make sure that I still have time for myself.
Okay. Can you give me what you've just said? Can you give me 3 practical tips that somebody could implement into their life right now so that they could replicate what you're doing?
Yes. Choose the time of the day that, okay, so personally for me, I'm a morning person and I love my mornings and I don't want to miss my mornings. They make me feel good. So I start my day on a high always. Doesn't matter what it is. You know, for me personally, it's walking or going and training with my PT. For other people, it might be catching up for a coffee or, I don't know, watching a movie. Whatever it is, start your day at your peak and it defines the rest of the day. I think that everybody has their own set of rules about how they should live. Personally, I found a huge improvement in my ability to manage stress by training in the morning and having peak endorphins, my coffee, my laughs with my friends, all of that time to myself in the morning. I think that's the foundation. Number 2 is having friends and spending your time around people who make you feel good. It doesn't have to be that, you know, you have a friend who might be really dumb, but they're really funny. You know, if that makes you feel good, spend time around that person. Your life, you know, life is to be enjoyed. That's the second thing. And the other item I always try and do is, and this is basic, right? But it does set up my week and my day every single day, is I don't leave my work until I've got a list of what I want to conquer the following day written down. So the minute I'm in work mode, I've got my goals in front of me. I've already won the day. I've already laughed. You know, I've already won and I haven't even started. And then that checklist of items that you want to get done for the day, as you cross them off, you're just going to continue to win. And it just puts you in the best headspace.
Okay, wow. What does your morning routine look like? Just a practical sense for someone who might be thinking, I want a morning routine, but they don't know what that looks like.
Yeah. Firstly, one thing I want to put out there is that people who say they're not morning people haven't tried. Truthfully.
I used to be like that.
Yeah, see?
And now I love the morning.
Right?
Yep.
Like, just because you think you're not a morning person, it's nonsense. Like, what, you can go to another time zone and click into that just fine.
Yes,
so
that's actually a really good point.
Yeah, like, mate, get up, get out of bed. I think so. For me, starting the morning, I wake up at 4:30 a.m. and of course, I've already got my bag prepared for what I'm going to wear and everything the day before, because like I'm in the morning, I don't want to think about anything other than coffee and jumping in the car and blasting whatever music I want to listen to. That's the goal. Having something to look forward to. So whether that be, you don't want to see anyone in the morning, but you've got a podcast lined up. Have it lined up. Don't be picking it while you're walking. Have it all organized so that you're waking up excited to start the day. For me personally, like 2 mornings a week, I train with 3 mornings a week, I train with a PT, and I do 45 minutes of weight training. And outside of that, I walk. I don't do HIIT training anymore because it just makes my body stressed. And it also honestly, it just makes me fat. So seriously, It just makes me fat. So I just avoid it. And again, like, nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't make me feel good.
Can you, just an observation.
Yeah.
And I don't want to focus
on the topic of fat.
No, not on the topic of fat, but you have, like, your body composition has changed, correct?
Yes.
Okay, how much has it changed? Can you share that?
Yes. Firstly, I want to preface this with, like, I'm going to mention this number, but also, like, we don't care, because it's all about how you feel and how you are able to operate. Whether the scales is 5 kilos less in the next 6 weeks means absolutely nothing to me. It used to mean something to me, it means nothing to me now. All I want to be is happy, healthy, and be able to fit into my clothes. So that's my driver. As for how much weight I've lost, it was a very slow weight loss, actually. It's funny because people are like, whoa, you've lost heaps. It's like, actually, no, I've been losing weight slowly for 2.5 years. 2.5 years ago, I think I would have been I was about 75 kilos. And now I'm probably somewhere between 60 and 64 kilos. I fluctuate. Me at 60 kilos, I don't feel good. I do not feel good. Me at 63, 64, I'm happy. Fit into my clothes. I can go out for dinner. I'm not watching everything I eat. I'm actually just enjoying life, being present and being confident.
Okay, so your focus is more about how you feel, which is
Totally.
how it should be.
Yes.
As opposed to, aesthetics, but aesthetics could be important as well. But also, like, I just want to acknowledge the female body can fluctuate pretty dramatically, right?
Oh.
I don't think many men understand that.
Yeah.
But it can fluctuate dramatically,
Yes.
right? Just hormonally or whatever it may be.
Oh, hormones?
There's also, there's hormones. There's, there's a term,
endometriosis?
Yes, that's the one I was.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
That's like, that
can make you fluctuate dramatically, right?
There's so many different.
Yeah. So I don't want, I guess what I want to celebrate when I ask you is more celebrating your healthy habits.
Yes.
And how that's brought you to a place now where perhaps you feel really energetic. And it would be difficult, like, you've put yourself in a position where you can feel energetic now. And that does affect your energy, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's funny, right? Like, the only thing that pisses me off now is when I can't fit into something that I could fit into before, and I can't wear it on the day that I want to wear it because I want to wear that outfit and it doesn't fit. That's actually what puts me in a bad mood. But I'll be completely honest with you. I put a lot of emphasis on weight for a very long time. And the interesting thing about that is that I don't think I was ever really the one that had a problem with it. But it seemed to be that in a lot of workplaces I worked in, a lot of people that I worked with seemed to love to comment on it regularly. And it was really, 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 really shit. It would really take me from being in the most fantastical mood you've ever seen me in to being somebody who's curled up in a ball crying their eyes out because I don't feel like I'm worthy. Even if I was hitting the targets, even if I was doing the job beyond what I should be doing or tracking well above other people, it was something that I just couldn't seem to escape. And the funniest thing is the minute it stopped being important is the minute that my weight just found its own position. And I think that Sydney is a place that people put a lot of emphasis on how you look, what you wear, what you drive, where you live, what you own, how much money you've got. And I'll be honest with you, I'm like, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy nice things, but far out am I sick of it. Like, I just want people to recognize other people for their ability, the beauty that's on the inside, and what they bring to your life, what they bring to the table, how they show up every day, how they contribute to others, how they lead, how they serve, how they look after their family. Why are those things not at the top of the list anymore?
No, I hear. I mean, as an industry, I've been saying for a long time that I feel like we celebrate the wrong people.
Totally.
And I've been very vocal around, just for example, Andrew Liddell, my colleague.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the sort of person we should celebrate.
Absolutely.
He has 4 kids. He's an incredible husband. He's a great leader. His real estate practice is incredible. Let's celebrate him.
Yes.
And now, just ironically, he's doing the numbers that probably the top 5 in the country are doing. So now he will get even more attention, but we should have been celebrating him years ago.
Completely.
So I hear you when you say that. And I think, Sydney is a bit like that. I mean, I don't know any different because I haven't lived anywhere else. But,
yeah, neither.
Yeah,
but, it is definitely eye-opening. It is eye-opening. And I think it's important that we put emphasis on things that are coming with depth. Who do you want your daughter to admire? Who do you want your son to admire? Those are the people that we want to be. Yeah,
interesting. Also, it's funny you say, I'm just thinking about this because you mentioned it right, around the morning routine. We're recording this in my apartment, but if you look outside now, you can see my outdoor gym set. Yeah. So there's 2 things that I learned in the last couple of weeks. The first is that my kids sit on that beanbag and watch television in the morning, but I'm outside training in front of them.
Yeah.
Because I want them to see me and for that to be their norm.
Yeah.
Their dad trains every day on the balcony. But I also learned another thing, and you'll notice that I used to put that gym set away, but it's set up now. And that's because if I don't set it up and then I get stuck in the morning because maybe my daughter Mimi comes in my bed, then I won't get out of bed till 6:30.
Yeah.
By the time I set it up, then I won't do the workout. So now I do 2 things. I set up my session the night before outside, no excuses. And I train with the in front of them while they're watching television. Sometimes my daughter will get the curtain and close it because she thinks I'm being annoying. It's actually pretty good. Thanks for sharing that. Do you have any advice that you would give? That is a fairly huge transition. And I think, your energy is amazing at the moment.
Yeah.
You're glowing and all that. You can see that. Your aura is incredible. I love the term. Yeah. What would you say to someone what advice in a health sense would you give for someone? Because you've obviously transformed your life in that sense. What does it feel like and why should somebody do it?
I look at health with a different lens. So I look at it as though if I don't train in the morning, I'm going to be tired. And I don't want to be tired when I'm talking to people. I want to be bouncing through the door in front of my team, pumped, because that's going to set the agenda to everybody else and that's going to flow the whole way through. So I choose exercise because I know it creates a better version of me in general. My advice to anyone who isn't training in the morning or is trying to develop a routine is to choose something you love doing. And if you love seeing your friends, then just pair it up with a walk. Just instead of going and having lunch, go and catch up for, Bondi to Bronte walk. Go and do something that involves physical exercise, and you will look back, after setting up a routine of seeing your friends every morning, you'll be a happier person and you would have created a routine that you love accidentally. That's if you hate exercise. If you love exercise, I'm sure you get up in the morning anyway. But I think finding something you enjoy doing is really crucial.
Yeah, that's great. That's actually really good advice. Your work ethic, it's strong, right?
I like to think so.
Yeah, it is. Where does it come from?
I don't want to fall behind. I have never wanted to fall behind. I've always wanted to be 2 steps ahead. It's important to me. I grew up in a family where my mum and my dad worked very hard, and hard work was instilled into our family. Nothing was given easily, and everything you wanted, you had to earn. Like I remember cleaning up the whole house for like 20 cents. And like 20 cents, I'm not that old. Like 20 cents didn't buy you anything then either. But, you know, like mum and dad instilled the importance of working hard from a young age. For me, working hard represents a number of things. It represents my pride in what I deliver to the world or to my clients, but, you know, to the world. It also represents the pride that I take in myself. And it also represents the respect I have for others. So that's where my work ethic comes from. When I worked for other people, I actually think I worked harder for other people than I do for myself, which is crazy when you think about it, because I never ever wanted to let anyone down. And I think, you know, through peaks and troughs, I always wanted my boss to know that they made the right decision by employing me and that I was going to bring it on home. Don't ask me why, but I always wanted to be the person who could help them get to a better place. And I think finding that in an employee is really difficult, but definitely testament to my upbringing and nothing coming easily.
So at the moment, I don't know who your old boss, I think I know who your old boss was.
Yes.
I think, but I don't know.
Yes.
And I think I know your old office.
Yes.
I just don't know which one. I know which franchise it
Yeah.
was. You're intelligent, you're driven. And right at the moment, if I'm not mistaken, I don't really like talking about GCI or numbers, but
Yes.
I will do it today.
Yes.
Because it's International Women's Day and I want to celebrate you.
Sure.
But you're writing over $4 million.
Yes.
In GCI.
Yes.
So that is essentially turnover in your business. Is that that's fair to say? Just for the listener who may not be a real estate agent.
Turnover.
Okay. That's more than your old bosses, right?
I don't really keep up with their stats, but when I was leaving, it would be on par with the top biller, if not maybe a touch more, I think.
Okay. So I guess the reason why I ask you that is, do you think if you went back into that role and the leadership style was different, this is not a criticism.
No.
This is good for the industry perhaps to hear.
Yeah.
Do you think you could have been managed differently?
Yes.
That would have helped you achieve better things and you would have been a happier person?
Yes.
So what do you think the industry gets wrong there? And you can direct this towards males because it is really, well, maybe that's a generalization, but just direct it towards
in our
males
space,
anyway.
It's probably mostly male dominated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are the males getting wrong?
They expect women to work the same way that they do.
Okay. Can you elaborate?
Yes. So hormonal fluctuations for women, we have a roller coaster of hormones that flow through our body every single week. What that does is it makes you tired, it makes you flat, it makes you depressed, it makes you sick, it makes you back sore. It does a whole range of things and it comes back around every single month. On top of that, we are expected to look a certain way. We're expected to dress a certain way and we're expected to somehow magically do that without actually going out and paying for it to be done. So in the roles...
Can you just break it down for us? So give me an example of what you're talking about.
So typically a real estate agent works 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And we say 6 days a week, but realistically, your day starts early and your day finishes much later than the average person. So really, if you want to add up, you know, how many hours you're working a week, it's definitely beyond a normal working career. How are you expected to have your hair looking perfect, you know, all of your beauty in check, your nails done, your clothes fresh, your house clean? How are you expected to have all of that done? And how are you expected to start in a career like that and earn enough money quickly enough by looking that way to then be able to pay for it? I don't mean to sound materialistic, but this isn't the number one thing that women go through, but this is a huge thing. In order for you to feel good at work, you have to feel good about yourself. And when your house is a dump, you got no food in the fridge, you haven't had a chance to connect with your partner, you haven't seen your family for God knows how long, and you're not doing anything that makes you feel good because you're too busy trying to catch up on sleep from the night before, how are you meant to show up to work as a well-balanced female or even just a well-balanced human being? You're not. It's silly. It is really silly and it's tiresome. And I found when I was in that role, I was resentful with the industry because nobody had made it possible to be a little bit less intense on a daily basis in order to deliver the same result. I actually think you are probably one of the only people that I've seen pave the way to having a flexible and successful career in this industry. But I think, I mean, I used to take calls from agents, but, asking me, oh, you taking another holiday? Damn right, I'm taking another holiday. You joking? I'm ahead of schedule. I'm bringing everything that I can to my work every single day. I'm showing up for my partner. I'm showing up for my staff. I'm showing up for my clients. Yeah, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to reset so I can bring my best self back to my clients who are paying me to do my job well. So I think that there's a huge disconnect between how people think you should work to be successful and how you actually work. And I do think that for a lot of women who want to go on to have children, who want to be more present with their children, it's not an industry that caters to women like that easily. And then, you have all the other stuff. You're showing up to work and because you're in a male-dominated environment, it's funny to throw male-dominated comments around. It's not funny at all. And there needs to be more emphasis on catering to both genders. I am fortunate enough to have worked for some really amazing men in this industry. And the men that I know are wonderful. But the work and the structure that goes into facilitating women like myself in this industry is poor and it needs work.
Okay. That's good. I naively, when you to hear you say there's comments made about your weight or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't resonate with it because it's not part of our culture at Bravery Quitney, or I don't think it is. I don't think it exists in my realm with people that I work with.
Yes.
I can't imagine a comment like that being said. And I don't think in my work environment specifically, but I'm acknowledging this categorically does exist. But in my work environment, everyone gets treated the same.
Yes.
But we were taught that from I was taught by Shannon Whitney the day I walked in that the receptionist is no difference to the top agent.
Yeah.
And if the top agent is rude, the top agent can go because no one is better than anyone. So that's sort of the environment that I came from. But so to hear you say things like that, I'm like, does that still happen? Or is that not 15 years ago or something like that? But obviously it does.
Yeah, it's not. I hear from a lot of different women. This isn't just, Sydney specific. And again, I'm not here to bash on about how bad workplaces are. And I'm truly grateful for everything I've learned and everything that I got to be a part of. There are pros and cons with every single workplace. But definitely, I hear about a lot of men who want women to come and join their offices. Well, make it easier for them to join your office. Create a space that they want to work in. Create things that are more aligned to who they are. Not just catering to men who work in real estate, who live very different lives to the women that they work with.
So can you finish that point around what advice you'd give to these men?
Yeah.
How does because I'm still confused how somebody like you slips through a system. You're so good at what you do. And it was just a matter that the industry didn't know how to harness that from you and empower you so that you could go on and do that before you even felt the need to transition. So I'm hearing the first couple of points that you made, but what else would you say to these guys?
I would say that creating structure and allowing a bit more flexibility would help. I think, do you know what? And it's hard for me to give you this advice because I have my whole team is women. Encourage, this is going to sound wild, encourage emotion, encourage who you are at home being okay as who you are at work. I think we've got this really rigid set of rules about how workplaces should function. If any of the girls in my team are having a bad day or they're not themselves, I send them home for a walk and I tell them to come back when they're feeling better. We are wired differently. It doesn't mean that we can't embrace each other's wirings. And I think asking what somebody needs rather than assuming would be in itself an enormous step forward.
Okay. Give me a real life example of a situation in your old role that you think could have been handled differently.
I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can do that.
Because you don't know or you don't want to share?
I don't want to share.
Okay. What about a simple one? Not a like a real simple step, like.
But is this about women or is this about how their business could have run better?
Maybe both.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had this great idea. Feel free, anyone, to take this. A lot of great young people that are coming through the ranks need to have more experience dealing with running a campaign. So all those listings that come through that are 400,000 to 700,000 that none of the senior or larger agents that are dealing with higher priced properties want to work with, they should go out to younger people so that they can have a chance to cut their teeth and learn how to do their craft better. I think also encouraging a workplace that isn't so ageist. So for me, from a young age, there were roles that I wanted to take on, and it was always made apparent to me that my age would hold me back. The bosses that allowed me, despite my age, to do larger roles were, I believe, probably the ones that made the most amount of money out of me and saw the best in me, and I saw the best in myself. And that also goes with really smart women that are stuck in EA and office admin roles or receptionists. No disrespect, but to be honest, the reason why they're so good at what they do is probably because they're really smart. They're able to anticipate people's needs and they're able to problem solve. Aren't they the basis of skills to being a really great salesperson? Maybe just give the people in your office a chance at doing a different role, because you might find that some people in your office have unbelievable skill sets that they don't even know about because their confidence hasn't allowed them the option or the risk to take a step forward and try it.
Yeah, I hear. In my office, people have stepped up and they've either done incredibly well, and sometimes they haven't done so well, but either way they tried.
Correct.
You had a chance, and they earned that opportunity.
Yes.
So yeah, and then we try and encourage it. So okay, I hear. You mentioned your partner. I think so. I think you said to me that you met the love of your life in this period. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I told everyone I met the love of my life the day I met him, actually.
Okay, cool. So
proper Jasmine move.
Yeah, that's
in terms of celebrating, not in terms of falling quickly.
Something Jasmine would do, definitely.
She knows.
Definitely.
I know. Yeah.
Yep. Can women have ambition and love?
Yeah. Yes, they can, because interestingly enough, I never thought it was possible. And I thought that I was maybe in a day and age where men that I was attracted to, or men that were ambitious weren't attracted to women that were ambitious. That they had to have the yin and the yang, if you might let me go down that path of, in that, the woman kept the house clean and kept the life in order while the man went out and, brought home the bacon. I think in a lot of instances, that traditional style was what I thought was the only thing that actually worked. For me personally, I dated a number of different people. And when I met Joe, I couldn't believe how refreshingly different he was. And he was somebody that really wanted to fit in with me and how I was, and I really wanted to fit in with him. And I think that I notice a lot with a lot of people who date, and correct me if I'm wrong, people like to scrunch the towel up and throw it in really quickly. Not everyone is perfect. And I think if you understand that what you've got is great and you are really grateful for what your partner brings to the door, that is the most important thing. Now, that's foundational. If you have a partner who loves you and cherishes you and met you when you were at your peak, thriving in whatever environment you were thriving in, there's no reason why they would want that to be any different. The other thing that I'll say is there was a huge adjustment with how much time I invested in work when I met Joe, but I made the decision that I wanted to have both. And that meant that I had to be craftier with how I spent my time with work. I had to speed through tasks that often I would move out, within a leisurely pace, and condense them so that I could spend more time with my partner. I changed a lot of the times that I work so that I could have more time with him. We catch up for long walks early in the morning as well, so that we can have that time together before the day turns to chaos. And when we get home at night, we have that moment to ourselves as well. So I think if you prioritize and you put the work in with your partner the same way that you put it into your work, you can have both. However, if you expect someone to work around your work and you're not willing to give back, I think it would be hard for anybody to have both. But you've got to find the balance.
What can we learn from your relationship?
I think a lot of people are very close-minded about dating, and they make up their mind about somebody almost before they've even had a chance to go out with them, or they make up their mind about somebody on the first date. And I think that Joe, my partner, is, you know, whilst he is just as special and amazing as he was the first day I met him, he's a very different person to when I first met him. And we've both evolved as people together. And I think being patient with other people gives you a chance to learn more about them. And I think writing people off too quickly is not fair. So I think if there's anything that I could say, once that you feel that you're in a position where you're exactly where you want to be and you're exactly happy with who you are, I believe that dating and meeting the right person is easier. I felt that way when I met Joe. I was at the peak of everything in life. In fact, I think I may have even gone on a date with him and said something along the lines of, and like not trying to be aggressive, or there was nothing behind it, but I really enjoyed this date and I had the best time with you. And if for whatever reason you wake up tomorrow and you don't want to go out with me ever again, I'll be truly grateful for going on the best date ever. Just choosing to be open and being so confident with what I bring to the door and just knowing that things will fall into the right place when they're ready. I think having that lens is very helpful.
That's really nice. The dating world's pretty brutal, right?
It's horrible.
Yeah. I don't think I dabble. I didn't really dabble in it that much, but yeah, it's not so nice, is it?
It's not. People are pretty mean to each other. And yeah, I hear a lot of stories, and, you know, I hear about my brother's dating life and I just think, oh my God, I don't want to do that again. But you know what? If I had to do it again, if for whatever reason Joe and I didn't survive and we had to walk away, it would be okay. And having that and knowing that, I think, is always a good position to be in.
I think I'm in no position to give anybody.
Yeah. I heard your podcast.
Yeah. I'm in no position to give any sort of relationship.
Yes.
However, I do think where, for me, I'm in a new relationship now.
Yes.
But what I came to terms with the last couple of years is that I'm now whole as a person. So any new partner would just complement me, not complete me. And probably what I was looking for initially was maybe for a relationship to complete me.
Yes.
But there's a big distinction between complementing, because that means I'm always in my power.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important, like, as far as like the most traditional thing I'll ever say is that a woman should be feminine and a man should be masculine.
Yes.
And that can work in any dynamic. Can be ambitious, not ambitious. It doesn't matter. Just women should be and embrace their feminine biology, and men should embrace their masculine biology.
I agree.
That's what I think. Yeah. So that's as far as I go with advice. And
what though? I think one important thing to put out there is that whilst a lot of people write people off too quickly, a lot of people stay in dysfunctional relationships too long. And I think, you know, one thing that's really important to me, and, you know, with the help of such an amazing role model like my mum, is that you have to be prepared to walk away. And I think, you know, having my career and having a relationship gives me the safety net that if for whatever reason I ever did have to do that, I've got a whole nother world that I've set up. That's not everything, and neither is work. And I think that bravery is really important, and it doesn't just sit with relationships, it sits with a whole range of things.
Yeah, I think that's life. People stick in situations that doesn't serve them.
Yes.
For too long. You ask yourself why.
Yeah.
I think there's I don't know what there is a technical answer. I don't know how to articulate it, but yeah, there's something about being familiar with the discomfort, and being familiar is what keeps you there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't articulated that right, but it's something like that from what I understand.
Completely.
I want to ask you now about your team. So how many staff do you have?
There's Maddie, there's Bray, there's Jerry May, there's Tala, there's Astrid, and there's myself. So there's six of us all up, including myself.
Okay. What have you learned about leadership? That's a really broad question.
Yeah.
Right? No, let me ask you a different question.
Yeah.
How has your leadership style changed?
Yeah.
From say year 1 to year 2.5? It's not even that long.
No.
How's it changed?
I realized that treating my team with kindness gives more back to the business.
Example?
When I first started the business, there were things that bothered me. And I think I let a lot of things bother me. And I learned to let go and just accept that if someone's intentions are good, it might not necessarily come out the way I wanted it to or, expected it to, but their intentions are good and they're good people and, that mistake can be rectified. I'm not as short-tempered is the honest truth, because I know that things will just work out. And I know that we've got, people who are at a senior level where, if we need to, troubleshoot something at a high level, we've got a skilled team that can do that. I have embraced, it's funny, like if any of the girls need to cry in my office and they go to walk away or hide it, I go, no, just get it out. Let's go. Get that emotion out the door. Let's go. You embrace that feeling. You're not feeling good? Go home. You're not feeling your best? Work from home. Like, I've become way more flexible and grateful for the people that work in my team. And overall, I've noticed that my leadership style has become more nurturing, which has actually produced a higher outcome in my people.
Interesting. More nurturing, like you just gave some examples, but can you keep going with that?
Making sure that people are okay in their personal life, making sure that when they come into the office, they've got everything they need, making sure that they're comfortable with where they're at professionally, making sure that I'm aligning their next steps in my business with their goals set for the future, anticipating needs. It's funny, I remember someone, I can't even remember which business it was, complaining about how they were a boss that actually just served their employees. I love it. I love looking after my team. It makes me feel feminine and it makes me feel so whole, knowing that how I am each day is helping them reach what they want to reach.
Okay. Mindset.
Yes.
How has your mindset changed?
In what regard?
Let's just say over the last couple of years ago. How did you think, 3 years ago versus how do you think now? And I know like how you think is just a general question. Are you more abundant with your thinking now? Are you more, I don't know, like I think, I'll give you an example. I think mindset, I asked myself the question of the day around my mindset. Like I asked myself probably 20 questions on the 1st of March. And I did that because I'm actually going to release it in my mentoring program thing, right? But I asked myself 20 questions. And just like as a bit of as an example, the question that I asked myself was, the very first question is, it's the 1st of March. So how do you rate your energy right now out of 10?
Yep.
Because we've started the year, we've had 2 months. We're not impulsive anymore. We should be in full motion right now, flow state. So how do I rate my energy? If you don't like the term energy, how do you rate your vibration out of 10? If you don't like that, how do you rate your vitality out of 10? Like different ways of asking the same question. I asked myself, how do I rate my health routine at the moment?
Yes.
How do I rate my sleep? How do I rate my nutrition? But one of the things I asked myself is, how do I rate my mindset? Am I an abundant mindset? Am I positive? Am I negative?
Yeah.
One of the questions I asked as well was if somebody met me, would they feel energized after meeting me? Would they feel curious or would they feel deflated?
Yes.
So anyway, these are I asked myself all these questions.
Yeah.
So I just want to tap into your mindset.
Yes.
How does Bianca think?
I genuinely wake up very excited each day. I genuinely wake up thinking, oh my God, I actually am so excited to go in and see my team. I'm so excited to laugh with them. I'm so excited to talk to my mom. I'm so excited to, pat my cat, go for a walk. I genuinely wake up very happy. In terms of how do I feel for performance and how do I feel showing up to each day, I actually genuinely believe that I'm at the top of my game. Absolutely, wholeheartedly. Um, I think I feel very confident with where I'm at, and I feel as though the opinions of others don't bother me as much as I used to be bothered. So, what that allows for me is the potential to take more risk, which excites me even more. In terms of how I look at the world, I actually think that anyone can really have anything. And I think that I can have anything. I think that you can have anything. I think that anybody can have whatever they want. And that concept in itself is really, really exciting to me. So, yeah, like to answer your question, I'm a much more powerful and happy individual than I would say ever before in my entire life. I feel so comfortable with who I am. I don't give a fuck about like anything that I used to give a fuck about. Like, I feel really, really good. I feel proud of myself. I feel proud of my team. I'm so in love with my partner. I'm so happy with my friends. Like, yes, there are things that I would love to improve, mostly in the organization and cleaning in my household. But those are items that are easy to fix. The big ticket items are under control.
So, what is your definition of success?
Freedom. Freedom of
Elaborate,
choice.
Elaborate.
Okay, so if I said to you, do you know what? I really want to go to not America, definitely not. But if I said to you, I want to go and take off to Berlin tomorrow, I could do it. If I said to you, I want to go and, I've decided I'm going to do a sea change. I'm going to sell my place and I'm going to move. I'm going to move in next door. I can do it. If I want to leave work, right now, cut this podcast short and go and see mum at hospital, I can do it. I can do what I want to do. That's my definition of success. To add a layer, for me, the financial gain is purely there to facilitate security, safety, and enhance my life. So, just knowing that if I was really unwell, I could pay for private health. Just having access to things and being able to do things when I want to do things and not have to consult anyone else is freedom to me.
Okay. If someone was feeling stuck right now,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
Take a holiday.
What if they couldn't take a holiday?
Take time off from work.
What if they're in a slump at work?
They need to get out of the slump in order to think clearly.
How do they get out?
They take time off, take sick leave. That's what it's there for. Sick leave isn't just when you've got a cough, it's for mental health as well. And if you're in a rut, you're mentally not in a position that you want to be in. Your brain's not functioning how it should be, and you're not finding the enjoyment that you deserve to find. So take time off and go somewhere quiet and write down what your values are and work out if that aligns with where you're at. And if it doesn't, I think for me personally, try and work out where you think those values would align to. I do believe that there's a direct correlation between where your values sit and what you do.
What about the term resilience? What does that mean to you?
Resilience is your ability to handle stress, grief, workload, to handle life and what it throws at you. That's what it means to me.
What's your resilience like?
I'm a very resilient human being. You know what? If I think about all the possible things that people go through in major life situations, like, we've gone broke, we've had addiction, families had cancer, I've been sacked more than once. I have lived out of home at 18 and had to pay for myself. I've done all those things, and I'm so glad that I have, because for me, I'm sitting here at 29 years old going, cool, I can handle anything. Resilience, I think, is your ability to feel like you can handle things and be able to put one foot in front of the other. And I've had a lot of practice at that. So for me personally, resilience is something that I have a lot of. And I feel really empowered that I do.
I want to just come back to International Women's Day for a second.
Yes.
Okay, what does that mean to you?
International Women's Day is recognizing women of all varieties across the world and taking a moment to recognize what they bring to the table. And that's what it says to me.
And do you see yourself as a leader?
I see myself as a leader, yes.
So what do you want to say to the people that look up to you right now? Because they're no doubt, I look up to you.
Oh,
So what do you say to the people that want to be you, who might be, well, it doesn't matter whether they're younger or older, but
yeah.
who want to get into the position that you're in now? What advice would you give them?
Be brave. Be brave everywhere. Be brave. If you're uncomfortable with something, change it. If you're not happy with something, modify it. If you're not happy with where your career is going, stop going in the direction of where that career is taking you. And let the bravery align with where you want to be. Look at where you want to be ahead and work backwards. You know, for me, I wanted to be financially, you know, I basically didn't want to have any financial strain by the time I was 30. I wanted to be well and truly set up debt-free. And, you know, apart from my mortgages, I am debt-free. I don't have any debt anywhere. But that's something that I've always wanted. And I realized that for me to have that, did I want to work and do 150 calls a day and door knock and do all the things, you know, battle the person in the office because that person's name is under someone else's name? No, I don't want to do all that shit. I don't want to do any of that. I actually just want to be able to make my own decisions and carve my own life for me. So I looked at where I wanted my life to be and I was brave and I took the steps to send myself there. And when I have moments where I'm dropping off, I have a word with myself in the mirror and we go back to square one and we look back at where we want to be and we realign those goals to make sure that they're on kilter.
So what do you say to yourself?
Bianca, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is not you. You're down. Why are you down? Because you drank, I don't know, too much wine on that wine tour that you did in Victoria and you shouldn't have. You've yelled at Joe and he didn't deserve that. And you're not setting the right example because here you are walking into work flat and that's not why you wake up excited to go to work every day. That's not what you designed for yourself. And I go back and I strip out all the things that are, you know, sending me in the wrong path and I go back to square one. And you know what? You know, truthfully, I don't mind a little shake up every now and again. I know that, you know, not drinking is very powerful, but also drinking and going down this very miniature spiral just for a hot second really gives you some great perspective to put yourself back where you want to be and do it better. So, you know, I'm not sort of saying that people should pick up the bottle of wine when they're feeling lost or off kilter and get yourself back there. But I love being in settings that allow me to improve what I've got in front of me.
So it sounds like accountability is big for you.
Yes.
Okay. But even you, with all your success,
Yes.
have moments.
Yes.
Rocky, like, I
Yeah.
don't know what's the term is. There are challenging times.
Definitely.
But you course correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I've got a couple more questions for you. I mentioned to you when we recorded this the first time that Jasmine had some questions.
Yeah.
I just have to maybe read out one or two of Jasmine's questions.
Rather than the other 13.
She wrote like, yeah, we probably need another hour to go through all these. Maybe I'll just focus on a couple.
Yeah.
So what did you have to sacrifice in order to get to the level that you're currently at?
Honestly, I had to squeeze more hours into my day to get to where I'm at. So when I wake up in the morning and I, you know, take moments to myself, that's a time where I chew through administration because I know that by the time I get into work, I'm going to have to do it anyway. So I may as well get it out of the way. So the minute I walk through the door, I'm focused on things that are going to produce more business. So creating more hours in my day was the thing that drove my, I suppose we can call it income, but I suppose the scale and the business increasing in sales or purchases each month, that's what modified that.
Okay. More hours in a day. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you wish you'd done differently on this journey?
I wish I'd hired a team of people earlier.
Okay.
Than what I did.
How early?
I wish I would have put more. So I Astrid, I hired, I think it would have been 12 months into me starting the business. I would have loved to have put on Astrid and another buyer's agent at that point. My business would look a lot different today, and I'd be, definitely doing more if I'd done it that way. Do I regret it? Would I go back and change it? Look, I'm happy with where I'm at, truthfully. But if we're looking at, how to produce a business that's turning over more, that's what I would do.
Okay. My last question is this. So there's a second business in play at the moment, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that second business? Or not?
Look, I'm someone who likes to reveal in one big hit, but I will give you.
Can you tease us?
Yes, I'd love to.
Okay.
So this is designed for people who don't necessarily want to undertake a full property search with a buyer's agent. It's designed to assist buyers who can't necessarily afford the full search, but want to have the outcome giving them just about the same amount of value. Me personally, I'm looking to team up with who I believe in our marketplace does this job the best. And I'm looking to align it with a community of other buyer's agents who can assist me with this task. So essentially, I'm not looking to hire buyer's agents within this business, but I am looking to work with other buyer's agents who I believe bring the same level of commitment to the task as what I do.
Amazing. Okay.
Sorry.
More will be revealed in time. Okay. Is there anything
Yes.
that I haven't asked you that I should have asked you?
No, but I think one thing I want to make, or I'd like to say, is that I think quite often how you think you should be or how you think your business should look is bigger than the actual task itself. And I think I look around and I think I see a lot of businesses with a lot of staff members. And that makes them feel like they're running a really successful business. I truthfully believe that some of the best businesses are really, really, really well-run small teams with very skilled individuals. And I think for me, probably when I first started making, a lot more money than I ever had, I had a moment to consider where that money should go. And I think spending it wisely and not appealing to how you should look or how you should be is really useful in creating a more sustainable, profitable, and happier business.
What about life?
I personally think that trying to prove to everyone that you can do something or that you're great at something or that is just a really tiresome battle. And I think the minute that you come to terms with the fact that it actually just doesn't matter is probably when you find your superpower. One of the biggest adjustments that I had from working for other people to working for myself is that there was no one to give me a pat on the back. And people don't really talk about that, but it makes you really question how you are. But I think once you conquer that level of confidence and you also don't really care whether someone thinks you're successful, not successful, this, that, the other, whatsoever, you've unlocked a superpower that I think people spend years trying to learn and hone. And I think it truly is one of the things that a lot of successful people miss.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
All right. Shout out to your mum on International Women's Day.
Yes.
To Joe.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate him too.
Yes.
And just a huge thank you to you. Like, you are so inspirational. And I'm so proud that I get to release this at the same time. And it's like watching you grow so much. It's just like so incredible. I just can't believe how much people can grow in such a short period of time. And I know you, but I've also watched you on Instagram and I hear about you through Jasmine. And I'm like, fuck, she's so impressive. And like, I don't even know where people like you and Jasmine, but people like you stop. Like, the sky's the limit.
Oh.
Like, I don't know what I'm going to hear about you in 5 years from now. It's amazing. Thank you for sharing. I hope a lot of people take a lot away from this. And I've I'm so happy for you and what you've achieved.
Thank you for always going out of your way to support me, because you do. And I think there's a lot of things that you've done for me that you didn't have to do. but you've done them. You've chosen to do them and support me. There's the things that you say behind my back are beautiful. And I'm so thankful to have you as a friend and to have been able to lean on you as a professional in this industry. I think that you are the perfect role model for what needs to happen to our industry. And it's wonderful. And I genuinely can't tell you how thankful I am on behalf of myself, Jasmine, and all the other women who are blessed to have your leadership and your encouragement.
Oh, thank you. That means so much. Thank you so much. That's so beautiful.
It's true.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot. All right.
All
We're
right.
done.
Okay.